Okay, what is going on, people? I feel like it's been so long since I've made a video, since I've made a live stream, since I've done pretty much. What is going on, people? Oh, got an echo here. Since I've pretty much done anything YouTube related. Busy man, you know how it is. It's Sunday or not. I don't even know what day it is. Whatever. It's Monday. I feel like it's Sunday because Backlash just, put me in a time stop. I don't know. But I've decided on what to call these uncalendared, unscheduled, random, whenever I feel like streams. They're going to be called Air Dash because that is my favorite maneuver in video games. Air dashing. Mega Man, Guilty Gear, Blaze Blue, you name it. I like to air dash. And before I even get started, be sure to check out the Weapon Wheel Patreon. Check me out on Twitter. Check us out on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play. Be sure to follow the whole crew, Kid Smooth, Jimmy, Broken Games HD, and Jack Move Johnny. Should be a nice Monday night for a video. I mean, the Sixers have won, finally. I am in jeopardy of losing to Kid Smooth for not one, but two bets. I mean, damn. Bet number one was Perfect Dark and or Rise will not get announced at E3. I believe that Perfect Dark will be getting announced, and I believe the other bet was who would advance further between the Cavs and the Sixers, and it looks like the Cavs are going to the conference finals, where my Sixers really, yeah, they're not doing so well. Be sure to check out Blaze and Solidcast. I would highly recommend both of those channels because I was talking to Solid Rev today, and Rev wants to bring back the Solidcast or whatever he decides to call it. So I would assume that Blaze will be right there with me and him, and Chuck or whoever Solid Rev want to bring in is what it is. But let's get to today's topic. IGN mocking Microsoft, services versus games, and single player versus multiplayer. So if you haven't heard by now, and I know I'm a couple weeks late because I've been busy and I haven't been doing much on YouTube, but IGN was mocking Microsoft and the Xbox, as you can see right here. Can you spot the difference? PlayStation 4, God of War, Xbox, a black screen. Now, we've seen Xbox fans do this a billion times on Twitter. A backwards compatibility, Titanfall, Gears of War, Forza, whatever. But all of a sudden, when, I don't know, a publication wants to make a mocking joke, these guys go crying to Phil Spencer. These guys go crying to IGN. They go crying to Daddy. Dad, IGN's making fun of me, Dad. Oh, man. I mean, people, I don't understand why everyone is so confused on why the Xbox is in the current situation it's in right now. They launched a console that was inferior to the competition, yet $100 more. The launch window of games they had was full of games that they paid others to make for them, not for developers they own to make games for themselves. They've constantly mixed messages as to what their identity as a games console or even a game maker is. One second they want to purchase DLC and, buy up exclusives. The next second they want to build their own developers and build their own exclusives. And yet then they want to go and make Scalebound. And then they want to go ahead and cancel Scalebound. And then they want to build Fable. And then they want to cancel Fable. Nobody knows what Microsoft is doing. Nobody knows. I mean, I kept hearing early on about how Xbox used to have all the good games early on. Yet I seem to remember that the Xbox One starting in 2015 started the year of 2015 with a 7-month drought of no exclusive games in 2015. So if the consoles came out in 2013 at the very end, and Microsoft had a good, decent launch window of games in 2014. They then started to have a 7-month drought in 2015. All of the warning signs were right there for everybody to see. When you don't have your own developers and all you do is hire mercenaries and mercenary developers, they're going where the money is. And when the money is PlayStation, it kind of gets hard to get somebody to work for you. It is what it is. But all throughout, what do I hear? What is that constant voice I'm hearing? Not the voices of criticism, nor the voices of skepticism, or the voices of demanding better. I mean, you guys do remember what happened to the Wii U, right? Bunch of bald-headed social rejects were damage controlling for 4 years straight, making excuses, talking about the definitive version of all your favorite games, and then, yeah, the Wii U died, and it never got better. You do know that damage controlling, in actuality, hurts a gaming platform. It harms a gaming platform. It does. It is like telling a child that they're doing a good job when they're really doing a crappy job. But if you keep telling a child that you're doing good when they're really doing bad, how do they know that what they're really doing is good nor bad? If doing bad gets praise, then they will keep being bad. It is what it is. Just is what it is. I mean, look how this console generation has devolved. I mean, we're talking about not buying consoles for games. I mean, I originally thought they were called video game consoles, but now they're called Blu-ray consoles and UHD consoles and Netflix consoles and Hulu consoles, and or how about service consoles? There was one dude even talking about how Black Panther was an Xbox exclusive. Not even joking. An Xbox exclusive, a Blu-ray, a UHD, a movie, an Xbox exclusive. Here I thought that we were buying and playing games, but apparently, I guess I didn't get the memo. Nintendo people are focused on games. PlayStation people are focused on games. Xbox people are focused on 4K Blu-ray, playing old-ass games in high resolutions at still welfare frame rates, services, and a half-finished or a quarter-finished lobster with tentacles in a boring-ass game where you hunt for farm animals on the beach. I mean, you can't make this up. You really cannot make this up. I mean, the fact that people have to go through these lengths to hype up a UHD as a console exclusive, that right there should be a red flag to you, Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, and everybody else that something isn't right. I mean, the mountain of excuses has become a mountain of pathetic. We have guys, again, like I said in this video of IGN mock Microsoft, we have guys crying to Daddy Phil Spencer about IGN poking fun at the Xbox One for having meager, subpar, dredge games that hardly ever come out. Now, to me, that doesn't make sense. Why are we crying, or is anybody crying, about IGN poking fun at Xbox or Microsoft, whatever? Wouldn't it be better to complain to Phil Spencer as opposed to complain about IGN. I mean, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but I have. I mean, maybe I'm a genius, maybe I'm not, but last I checked, it's called the Microsoft Xbox, not the IGN Xbox, meaning that IGN doesn't make games for the Xbox. Microsoft makes games for the Xbox. So IGN cannot in turn affect game development on the Xbox, whereas Microsoft, with all their billions, can. So if you are displeased with IGN mocking the Xbox One, wouldn't it make more sense to complain to Microsoft about it? Instead of saying, hey, IGN, stop making fun of Microsoft, wouldn't it be like, hey, Phil, IGN is making fun of the Xbox for having no games. What do you plan on doing about this? Can you get games to alleviate this? I mean, when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, do you think the Cowboys were complaining to the Eagles of, why did you guys win? No, they were complaining to Jerry Jones like, we need to be better. We can't let our rivals beat us. We need to be better. Why complain about the winning team? You need to complain about yourself to figure out how you can get better. I just don't get it. I mean, then we have guys saying things like, are you tired of all the Xbox doom and gloom? Hey, go follow this guy on Twitter. He's a good content creator. Now, if I'm tired of all the Xbox doom and gloom, how does following some random guy on Twitter alleviate that situation? How does it solve that situation? How does that fix that situation? Wouldn't the better option be to follow, I don't know, Phil Spencer, Ybarra, Major Nelson, and tell them that, you know, you want more games? Wouldn't that be the more sane solution? Why follow somebody to ignore the problem when you can follow somebody that can actually take an effect, change, solve, and fix the problem? See, that's the issue here. These Xbox guys, they're not about fixing a problem. They're not about solving the problem. They're not even about admitting that there is a problem. They're about ignoring the problem, about pretending that the problem doesn't exist. And by pretending that something doesn't exist, you are in turn enabling it and preventing it from being fixed or improved upon. And that's just it. Like I said, damage control and making excuses, that negatively impacts a product. If I hypothetically was a fanboy and hypothetically was in this console war, the first thing I would do is, instead of attacking another platform, I would just make damage control excuses about it all day. So yeah, I'm fine with no games. I'm fine with crappy online. I'm fine with Nickelodeon cartoon games starring orange little foxes. I'm fine. I mean, most people here are grown ass men. Problem solving. It's a subject matter that you learn as a child, as a kid. What's the problem? Address the problem. Create a plan. Implement a plan. Create objectives. Complete a goal. It's not just, you know, a simple thing as a child. It's a simple thing called business. But, you know, nobody wants to blame Microsoft. It's not Microsoft's fault they don't make enough games. It's not Microsoft's fault they don't secure enough games. It's not Microsoft's fault that they make kiddie games, more kiddie games than Nintendo. It's not Microsoft's fault that Nintendo will be releasing 2 M-rated exclusives this year while they are releasing none. Because it's not Microsoft's fault. It's everybody else's fault. It's Sony's fault. It's the media's fault. It's Nintendo's fault. Hell, it is Black Bond's fault. I can't make this up. I mean, but the one thing, the one person, the one entity responsible for all this. The one fault it never is it's Microsoft's fault. I mean, everybody take a step back and listen to what I'm about to say right now. You guys do realize that Sony, a company on the brink of bankruptcy, has completely and utterly humiliated Microsoft, right? A company on the brink of bankruptcy has utterly, completely, and definitively humiliated one of the most wealthy corporations on the planet. That should never happen. Sony somehow, some way, is outspending Microsoft on getting exclusive deals, on getting DLC, on getting advertisement. They are outspending them on creating content, on creating games, on developing games. Meanwhile, what does Microsoft's game division spend money on? A brand new console that people hyped up for 17 months that still does not have a game exclusive to it that shows off its power? They spent an exorbitant amount of money on Skype. They spent a crap ton of money on Mojang. Like these are the investments that Microsoft is making. Is what it is. Is what it is, people. But one more thing I really want to talk about, because I love it when I see this lie on Twitter. If you're not following me on Twitter, follow me on Twitter, because I don't have time in life to be making a video on every little topic and every little thing I see. So I like to tweet. Tweeting is real time. It's more personable for me, if you will. But what I want to talk about is this whole lie about Microsoft has great multiplayer while Sony only has great single player. As far as I'm concerned, Sony makes more great single player and multiplayer games than Microsoft. Sony, this generation alone, we had Killzone Shadowfall, Drive Club, Gran Turismo, MLB The Show, Uncharted, The Last of Us, Everybody's Golf, Wipeout. You even had H1Z1, DC Universe Online, and PlanetSide 2, because up until Sony had sold that developer, that was a first-party developer who has made those 3 games. Now, what does Microsoft have as far as making multiplayer games? They have Halo, Gears, Forza, and Sea of Thieves. Let me repeat myself. They have Halo, Gears, Forza, and Sea of Thieves. That is it. They had the same 3 games, the same 3 franchises they had last generation, and then they piled No Man's Sea, a pile of dog crap on it in Sea of Thieves. Now, and I know what you guys are going to say, but what about games like State of Decay? Well, that game is not developed by Microsoft. It is developed by a second party, a third party, somebody that is not a first party. What about Crackdown? Again, a game developed by 4 mercenary developers that Microsoft does not own. The game is not first party. What about PUBG? Again, third party deal. What about Titanfall? Again, made by another third party. Microsoft themselves only makes Halo, Gears, Forza, and Sea of Thieves. And yet you people want me to believe that Microsoft runs multiplayer while Sony only runs single player. Ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. Drive Club sold over 2 million. Shadowfall sold over 3 million. Gran Turismo always sells. MLB The Show is a million seller. Uncharted sold a crap ton. The Last of Us sold a crap ton. Everybody's Golf has always been a solid title. Wipeout has always been a solid title. Sony has more multiplayer games and more single player games than Microsoft. It's just a fact. I mean, We could also go ahead and name games. I mean, yeah, you could name Killer Instinct. Oh, I forgot that. But again, Killer Instinct isn't made by a Microsoft developer. It's made by, yet again, another hired hand. And yeah, if you want to go into games like that, then we could bring in games like Guilty Gear and King of Fighters, which both aren't on Xbox. You could bring in games like Bloodborne, even though it's not made by Sony, it does have a multiplayer component. I mean, we can go on and on and on, and it would just be even more destruction. I mean, even look at the past generations. You have games like SOCOM, MAG, God of War Ascension, Little Big Planet, Mod Nation Racers, Starhawk, Warhawk, Buzz, SingStar, MotorStorm, PlayStation All Stars. Where is anybody getting that Microsoft makes more multiplayer games or is more concentrated on multiplayer games than Sony? Sony does both. And most of their games have multiplayer. Just because their top tier games are single player does not mean that they make multiplayer. The only difference is that Sony's top tier single player games rank up with the best single player games. Meanwhile, Microsoft's multiplayer games are pretty much average to trash. It just is what it is. Nobody's really checking for State of Decay 2, for Crackdown 3, for Sea of Thieves. Like, get the hell out of here. So, where this lie comes from that Sony only does good single player, Microsoft does great multiplayer, is completely, utterly false, stupid, and just one giant big lie. Sony single player games stand with the best out there. Microsoft multiplayer games do not. Period. Period. They don't. God of War sold 3 million in what, 2 to 3 days? I don't see any other single player games doing those kind of crazy numbers. And yet, when it comes to multiplayer, I don't see anything that Microsoft has made themselves competing with a Fortnite or a PUBG or an Overwatch or anything crazy like that. I don't see it. If you see it, then yeah, you let me know. You tell me, but I don't see it. So not only does Sony make more single player games than Microsoft, they make more multiplayer games as well. And more critically acclaimed single and multiplayer games than both. I mean, I could name games like Resistance, but I don't count games like Resistance because Sony did not make a game like Resistance. So, all in all, instead of lying about things, instead of making excuses about things, like why do we have to make excuses for Microsoft? Why can't we just demand better? I mean, I'm on a PC. I would love for Microsoft to make better games so I could buy them on a PC, so I could play them on a PC. I had Gears 4 day one on a PC. And let's say even if Microsoft didn't want to put good games on the PC, give me a reason to buy an Xbox then. The Xbox One is the only Xbox platform I have never owned. Why is that? Simple, because it lacks compelling software that differentiates itself from any other gaming platform on the market. Just does. So let me read some of these comments we got going here, and then I'm gonna get out of here because it's getting late and I got things to do. Now I have not started playing any PlayStation 4 yet. I have hooked it up. I will try to get on God of War sometime later in the week. I will be playing BG in a Patreon requested Mortal Kombat X game, and I really don't want to have to play that trash game, but it is what it is. So let's scroll down the comments section. I don't know about the Capitals because I don't watch hockey. Yeah, I'm sorry, Daniel. I know you want to sleep, but yeah, Black Bond is streaming. When I talk, you're compelled to listen. Everybody check out Blaze. Check out Solidcast. Check out Rev because you're going to see me on there. You will. I'll be a regular on there. Be pulling double duty. Tropical damage control costing more on Switch, and like I don't get that. Oh, but I never owned it before, so $60 is fine. No, 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 no. A 4-year-old game should never cost full price. Period. It shouldn't. Period. No way, no how, no excuse. Facts. Bond, did you see Trey's video on Donkey Kong Tropical Damage Control? Yeah, I mean, all he does is damage control. What he does. I found an old article that Microsoft spent reportedly $1 billion on Xbox One games back in 2013, 2014. What happened? Yeah, a quarter of that went to Mojang. 50 million of that went to Respawn Entertainment. Probably another 50 of that went to Blue Hole Studios, PUBG, whatever you want to call them. Speaking of which, I love it when dudes be telling me that they'll never buy a PlayStation because the games run inferior on it. They refuse to buy any kind of inferior product. Yet when I ask them when they bought their first Xbox, they get all mad and defensive. Translation: they bought inferior multiplats for 3 years straight before getting the Xbox One. So why was it okay to buy inferior third-party games then, but you can't do it now? You guys think it's slick, but you can't talk around me. I've been around. I've been around since the System Wars days. I know how it goes. I am in the mind of the fanboy. I know how you think. I know what makes you tick. And that's how I destroy you so easily. I got a Wii U. Immediate buyer's remorse. Agreed. Xbox are celebrating origami going to Xbox One. But what the hell is origami? I don't even know what origami is, but if it's on PC, it's not exclusive. But then again, we got guys like Hebot claiming that some old ass PC games are exclusives to the Xbox. All the PS4 guys are being hypocrites. Typical. Okay, you could elaborate woodworking, but I don't see you elaborating. Blaze, you are right. Nintendo is focusing on the definitive version of Wii U games by porting their whole library onto the Switch. I'll agree with that. Can Thanos erase Zeno? Oh my god. Great exposer. I do not care about review sites anymore. I usually rely on non-sponsored user reviews. I mean, sadly, you can't even trust user reviews because you have fanboys to deal with. I mean, it's pick your poison, really. My best advice would be to find a reviewer, an individual that you trust, that you identify with, that you have similar gaming taste to, and see what that person thinks about it. Oh, has Microsoft said, please understand? Oh, damn. That was cold. That was cold. I keep hearing that, Phil Spencer, he needs more time. He needs more time. Why does he need more time? Nintendo, their president, passed away. He didn't resign. They didn't have a succession plan for his pending resignation. This dude literally passed away, and they had to find and scramble for new leadership. And the new leadership has taken Nintendo and the Switch to new heights that the Wii U can never even hope to dream about. And yet, even now, they're switching hands again to yet another president. They're going to be on their third president in the past 3 years. And yet, one guy who has vastly more continuity at Microsoft, he needs more time. More time. Well, Phil Spencer, in my humble opinion, Your time is up. It's time for new blood in the Microsoft camp. It's SEO clerks guy. I find it depressing that fanboys tout UHD Blu-rays. Most of the DVD and Blu-ray sales are primarily at standard HD. Microsoft is going to botch E3 this year. I 100% agree. I would talk about my thoughts on God of War, but I have yet to play it yet. Danganronpa 1 and 2 on PC. Have no idea what the hell that is. It sounds like an anime. Blackbond, why do you diss? Because I can. Kaz Hirai saved Sony Corporation as a whole, hence why he was promoted. 100% agree. PUBG 30 frames per second. Hey, Fortnite 60. You know, I'm going to buy Everyone's Golf on the PlayStation 4 because I love Mario Golf. So if anybody's down to play Everyone's Golf, I'm 100% down to play anybody in that game. Bond needs to be on the Corporate Slave Awards, the Sony side this year. Oh, Lord. Oh, whoa, you're moving too quick. Okay. On Twitter, Trey said you still technically bought a PlayStation 4, but then days later, when he called you cheap and someone said you aren't cheap because you bought a Pro, he said someone else bought them. Look, if it's not obvious to everybody now that Trey has some sort of mental issue or deficiency, you should realize that he does. He is a woman trapped in a man's body that refuses to admit when he is wrong. My man sat up there on Twitter for an hour a few days ago, straight up lying, claiming I don't beat any. He of all people claiming I don't beat games. Not only have I beaten more Nintendo games than him, I've beaten more games than him, I've owned more games than him, I bought more games day one than him. It just is what it is. Bond, will you get a 4K TV? Probably not. I'll get a 4K monitor, though. What difficulty will you be playing God of War on? The one under Give Me God of War. MK9 is better than MKX. That's like saying poop is better than diarrhea. Xenoblade 2, still haven't touched it. Still haven't touched my Switch because that game runs like crap. Are you going to play Bloodborne? I really already played Bloodborne. Nakamura versus AJ was so bad. I appreciate that $2 donation, Wispions. And look, I told my friends at the event, you guys keep thinking that we're going to get this 5-star sequel of a match from Wrestle Kingdom. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. It just is what it is. That was a one-time deal. It will never happen. Shokyo said he would end himself if Retro announced not a DK game. Oh, Lord. But it's portable, 9 out of 10. What review would you give Kaz, Hirai, and Kimishima for turning around their respective brands? Did they each get a 10 out of 10? On a business side of things, they get a 10 out of 10. On a my opinion and my feelings side of things, I would give Nintendo a 7 out of 10. But regardless of how you feel about Nintendo, Nintendo has carved out a niche for themselves and their audience. Sony has carved out a Grand Canyon for their audience, and yet Microsoft is sitting at the edge of the table looking up crumbs off the floor. I am not buying Tropical Freeze for $60. I would sooner than later download it on my PC and emulate it than be bent over by Nintendo like that. Did Phil Spencer do enough, or should he be deleted or fired? He should be deleted. Bond destroy Kid Smooth with these facts. So we do have another bet. If I can beat Smooth in NBA Live, which he will purchase for me, he will buy me an Xbox One X. Am I going to play Spider-Man? That's to be determined. We broke the DC sports curse. Phil's lease is up in the City of Hate. 100% agreed. My pro gets allowed during God of War. It sounds like a jet engine. Bond, do you think Nier Automata will go to Xbox? I personally don't care. If it does, cool. If it doesn't bother me. Microsoft has become the crumb snatchers of the gaming industry. Donkey Kong is $20 on the Wii U. Oh, God. Anyway, people, it's close to 11 o'clock. Want to watch some basketball? Look out for me and BG playing Mortal Kombat tomorrow. I don't know when this podcast will keep going, if it'll be weekly, bi-weekly, multiple times a week, monthly, whatever. But hey, it is what it is. Take it easy. I'll catch you guys later.